Welcome back to CEO Money. Thanks for joining us. I'm joined here with Mervyn Price, my co-host, and our guest today, Andrew Kernan, CEO, American Property Guard. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here. It's an honor to be on our maiden show here.
All right. I'm glad you're here, too. All right, you're going to be hearing more from Andrew. He's just a wealth of information and contacts. Andrew, let me back up a little bit, and you could tell us just a little bit about your background. It's super in-depth, and then we can get into American Property Guard, okay?
Sure. I'm a son of a Army officer. He did 34 years. I'm very proud of that. He went through West Point and taught at West Point. I would later to join the service myself as a nuclear engineer and served aboard an aircraft carrier. From there, I got out and took some of the electronics knowledge I had acquired and got into private business where I was intrigued by the early internet. And so one thing I was able to do with that is to go and find ways even before Google to do bid-for-click marketing, and was able to grow a small business to adding $3 million in revenue without adding more personnel with bid-for-click marketing. And so very early adopter of the internet. That was late 90s. I was doing that. I left there to start my first business, which was B2Data Stream, where I was providing streaming video over dial-up internet, which was not fast. But at the time, businesses needed, and there was nobody knew how to do it. So very early, kind of exploring all aspects of what the internet had to offer.
Almost a founding father.
Almost, but more applying what was being built than building it myself. So I don't want to take credit where credit isn't due.
And then you had some background in the nuclear side of the Navy. Is that what I heard?
Yes. I joined the Navy's nuclear engineering program. And so kind of got the nuclear education there. And that's one, intrigued with technology and science from a very early age. So
I really appreciate your service. I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Now tell us about your company.
My company, I have a couple businesses. Primarily, I had a startup SaaS company, American Property Guard, and we provide automation for mortgage servicing and title origination. And so for the housing industry, there was many manual choke points in the origination process. And so we developed technologies to overcome what used to be manual processes.
Okay, let's drill down in that, because you're separating yourself from the manual processes by automating it. Let's talk about what's important about that, how it saves money, how it saves time, and how it puts the companies that do business with you ahead of the curve.
Yes, we when you go to find housing, all revolves around county data. And the county data doesn't marry up well with real estate agents, with lenders. Everybody will have a different format for the legal description of the property and the address. We were able to use geocodes to auto-locate properties. And by auto-locating properties, that allow us to run bots to go pick up the information in real time. This was compared to competitors who would buy the county tax rolls. And so they're buying the data sometimes only on an annual basis. And so there's no real-time look into the property's tax payment history, HOA information. And so by automating that process, we not only eliminated a manual step in the whole origination workflow, but we gave more accurate information where we have now real-time payments as well as verification of finding the properties.
What caused you to come up with this idea? I mean, was it a driver from outside, or were you thinking about something?
No, I came up with this idea while I got into the housing industry during the housing crisis. I was working for a company that was trying to do property inspections for the lenders. And at the time, it had gone from 300,000 defaults to 3 million defaults overnight. And so there was no way to keep up with it. And we developed a software to manage that workflow, and we're able to do 600,000 property inspections a month with 4 million pictures every month, month in, month out. As the housing crisis wound down, I was to take a lot of the technology using geocodes and other things to identify properties and start applying that to property tax savings. I thought large portfolio holders who were buying up the default property than turning them into portfolios of rental properties, often billion-dollar portfolios, would have lots of opportunities for tax savings. So we were trying to do some big data projects, getting the county data, running analytics against it, algorithms to find those tax savings for these portfolio holders.
How for the layman that's listening out there, give us an idea of what kind of savings you brought to the table by automating this process.
By automating the process, the savings, it's more in how fast you can get something closed and to the secondary market. And so a lot of the real money in the real estate industry is when after the title closing, things are brought to the secondary market and the investments are sold on Wall Street into these pools of loans. Being able to, one, get the original closing done faster and more accurately. Mm-hmm. It also, on the backside, brings these pools of loans to the secondary market much more accurately mm-hmm. and faster, as well as gives a lot of the back-end work that has to be done in that secondary transaction more accuracy up front.
It makes me wonder, there could be other applications for the technology. Am I right?
Yes. And so right now we're really exploring other places to apply this. One of the biggest issues right now for lenders is they're basing escrow accounts on the previous year's taxes. And many states, Texas, for example, your tax bill comes out in September or October. And so they've been collecting escrow on an amount which they're not going to know from January till they won't know in October. Because we get the real-time taxes, we're able to much more accurately predict those taxes early on. It's hundreds of millions of dollars in shortages and escrow accounts on a rising market. So it's quite a significant new product offering we have.
Well, let's talk about market penetration. You have any questions, Merv?
I'll have a question later on relating to security with the sensitive data and information that you're carrying. But Michael, go ahead. I'm fascinated, Andrew.
You just got started with this. Talk to us about time in the market penetration, and what you see as we go forward with this market sector.
Yeah, we've been in business for about 3 years. Our market penetration is we currently serve. Our competitors are owned by the first and second largest title origination. Title underwriters in the country.
Okay.
Our customers included the third and fourth largest title underwriters, as well as many other title companies.
Got it.
And so that's our primarily use of our software. Where we're going with this is, one, we now have this application for the lenders mm-hmm. To offer, as well as we've come up with a new technology we've been working on that we're just rolling out, which is an artificial intelligence to recognize the subdivision name in a legal description. Now that may sound like something that, why wouldn't that just be easy to do? Well, if you take a string of words in a legal description and pick out what in that string was the actual subdivision, very difficult. Now, once you have that information, it applies to auto-locating the HOAs, the bonds, all kinds of information against the property. And so that can be applied to many other areas of the housing sector once you're able to have an artificial intelligence decipher the legal description. And so that's where we're going next. And that's going to even our largest competitors are going to need that service. So.
Yeah, that was my next question. That seems to set you apart from everybody right there.
Yes, this is it's similar what you would think of as a way Google might resolve your address. When you put in an address in a Google Maps mm-hmm. and how it can decipher that address from all the different variations of spelling that address. We're kind of the first to take the address, the owner name, the legal description, run it against an AI, and come up with a confidence scoring against that.
Up till now, there'll be thousands of man hours just having to pour over this information and manually input it.
Yes, most of the big banks have huge teams of people offshore doing this, and so moving this back into an American company is important to me.
That's good. Now, Merv, you had a question about security.
Yeah, in this day and age, one of the greatest fears everyone has in your industry is the morphing of viruses, Trojans, malware, that kind of thing. Tell me your own experience in that and how you overcome it and how you protect your product.
It's interesting you should say that. So we run Cisco Edge security devices, and when you look at the logs, it's insane the amount of attacks you're getting. And so we see this people 24/7 hammering on the door of addresses trying to access our system. Keeping up with the security, it's important. It's requirements of the lending industry that we're protecting consumer data. Having the people internally vetted, as well as using our own managed private cloud versus going out to typical cloud hosting gives us an edge of that. Other big thing we do is we do everything onshore. So we don't have any offshore, because no matter what you do, if things are being done offshore, you don't know how secure the people doing the work for you are being. So.
That's amazing. Andrew, please come back. Andrew is going to be a part of our family as we move forward. I want to thank you for your time on the show, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Andrew, thank you. It's fabulous.
You're welcome. It was great being here.
All right. Andrew Kernan, CEO, American Property Guard, web address, americanpropertyguard.com. We'll be right back on the other side of this break with Noble Drakon, CEO, Arvada Labs.